Hey, what those things sticking out your ears, man? They learn you gotta turn it.
Sorry, I was having some problems.
What's all that you got going on the ceiling back there? You got a black light or something.
Say it again.
Hey, you see it? We'll wait just a couple minutes more. Hello, everybody. This is Mickey Clayton, the coach, and we're here with SiiGHTS for our third episode. And this is our crew that we're rolling with tonight. We want to say hello to everybody. So we've been talking about COVID-19. Now we talked about the first two issues. Tonight, what we're going to talk about, or today, what we're going to talk about is some of this unrest that's going on. It's growing in the communities, the protesters, some of the things that are getting out of hand. Usually Tallahassee itself is on the perimeter with a lot of that, but we've even had some of that happen here in Tallahassee. So what I'd like for the cast to do is, I'd like for each one to kind of share their thoughts in terms of what's going on. Caden.
I feel like the purpose behind it is good and all, but the protests have gone kind of too far, and it's becoming more of a battle than a protest or any type of spreading of ideas and stuff. I feel like it's more of a war than a protest at this point.
And what do you mean it's more of a war than a protest?
The riots and all that, it's just too much violence to spread your message and all that.
And what do you think the message is that the protesters are trying to portray?
That Black lives do matter. Well, in this situation, Black lives matter, and this police brutality has gone on too much. And we need to be more for Black people.
I kind of agree what he's saying. However, I feel like people are doing that because that's how you get their attention, unless there's something like dramatic or drastic that happens. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to like protest yet. I really want to. I don't want to like participate in like the riots and all the like fires and everything, but I feel like why they are doing that, I guess, just to get their attention and to show their emotions, I guess. So, but I feel like the protesting is necessary, and it's crazy. I think yesterday or 2 days ago, a couple of my friends were actually in the crowd when the guy like ran through them like with his truck and everything. So I feel like it's just crazy, but some of the stuff is necessary.
Yeah, and why do you feel like, why is it you want to participate?
because I mean I'm Black. I feel like I don't feel like everybody should. I feel like everybody has a voice, and I want to express that. And so I feel like my voice, the way of me expressing that is protesting.
I agree with everything that was said, but I feel as though if you, this is people how people are going to react if you keep backing them in a corner, if you keep doing something, because this easily could have been avoided if the cops were just arrested in the first place. Like it was blatant. Like if let's say I slapped my sister in front of you guys, they would have said, okay, she slapped her sister. So I feel like if you see something that happened, you can't say, oh, and then the fact that they said when they did the autopsy that, you know, it was because he had other conditions and he could have been, you know, had drugs in his system or something like that. But it's like we saw a 9-minute video of you on his neck. So it's like, you know, and we keep seeing these things since like the first one on video that I ever saw was Trayvon Martin. That was the first one I've ever seen. And I was like shocked, like I was young and I was shocked that that could have happened. And so, I mean, looking at that and you keep seeing things on and off camera, and nothing's being done about it, I mean, you're gonna at one point get angry, especially if you're ones that are close to the family. I mean, some people that are doing stuff aren't doing stuff for the protest, they're kind of taking advantage of it, and that I don't agree with that. But at the same time, them, I mean, I'm not gonna condone violence, but at the same time, I have to put myself in their shoes. If my brother or my father or my sister or my mom was under that officer's knee, I would have, like, I don't know what I would have done. Like, so I don't think that I think that the message is pretty clear what they're doing. I don't think that it's not, because everybody knows why it's happening. So I don't think that they're taking away from the message, but I think that people need to have to stop saying things of, oh, you can't do this, but, and mostly like media has shown certain things, but I think that you can't keep saying somebody can't do this or can't do it this way because you haven't been in their shoes, you know. I'm like, and it's just not right. Like, especially we see it on videos and nothing's being done. And then they bring up the fact of, you know, it's Black on Black crime. But somebody made a funny little tweet about it and was like, if this person, if like they say, if Ray, you know, shot Tyrone, Ray was going to go to jail for life. And they were like, if now the officer shoots Tyrone, he just gets paid leave. And it was funny, but it's very true. So that's what they're fighting for. That's what I think. And I also was planning on going to the protest today until, I don't know, my mom told me I couldn't go. So, because she saw things were getting violent, but.
Well, I think a couple of our members have gone. Some of the cast are currently at the protest. Kamari, what's your thought?
Well, I feel like history has been repeating itself for hundreds of years, and it's not getting worse. It's more so that it's being recorded now and posted so everyone can see. And honestly, nothing's going to change unless we take drastic measures. So, I mean, I don't fully agree. Like, I hope there's not riots in Tallahassee, of course, but yeah, we need to make a statement.
Do any of you know some people who've gone down there? I think, Kaylin, I think you said you knew somebody. Some of you know people who've been involved in the protest?
I have a few friends at Rickards, and my brother was supposed to go, but something came up yesterday.
Okay, those who went, what have they shared with you from their experience in terms of being a part of it?
Oh, they said it was crazy. There's a lot of people supporting the movement, and there's also a couple people that wanted to show that they didn't support it, like the dude with the truck.
What was y'all's perception of the guy who drove through in the truck? What was your impression of that?
He's crazy, and I think he should be arrested. Well, I think he was arrested. I don't know if they charged him or anything. I think, okay, I saw like two different things. I saw somebody said that he ran over like 8 people, and then I saw somebody said he actually hit one person that like went over on his truck or something like that. But that's just ridiculous. It's never that serious. He shouldn't have done that at all. So, but my friends that were like in the crowd, like about to be hit or whatever, like they said it was scary, but like it's just crazy.
Camille, what's your thought on what's going on?
Like all of you have been saying, it's a war, because at the end of the day, they are fighting us back. So that's pretty much how I take on it. I feel like it's very much so necessary. I think it's crazy that our own president is calling us thugs. But the same thing happened a couple weeks ago with the white guys who were protesting about getting haircuts. I just think it's crazy that when we do the same thing, we get treated obviously different. And it's been going on, like someone said, you know, history is repeating itself, and they just act so surprised every time that it happens. Like, there is no other way for things to go if we keep getting treated like this hundreds and hundreds of years. Like, there's no other way to cope and deal with things at this point.
And also to go off what she was saying, there was this video that was put out, and it was like how social media, not social media, but the media, like the news outlets, are portraying it, and what words that they use when they're talking about these protests. And it was like when I forgot which hockey team lost, and they went out and were like, you know, doing the same thing, destroying and lighting things on fire and all of that. They were just like, oh, they're just kids making dumb decisions, and you know, they're just very upset about the loss and they lost the game. And it's like, okay, so you guys are saying that a game is worth more than like a black person's life. Like, that's basically what you're saying, because we're protesting over something that actually matters, and they're protesting over a game. And all of us are athletes here. A game is never that serious, and we're the ones that are playing it. So it's like they will use words, and it's been a lot of those riots after a lot of championships are lost, and they just say, oh, these are just people being dumb, you know, they're drunk and blah 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 blah. And so just give them a slap on the wrist. And so that's the part of why people are angry. So I mean, I'm not condoning the violence, but at the same time, that it got everybody's attention, didn't it?
You made a comment about everybody being athletes. Do you think athletes have a special responsibility to speak out and say something?
I feel like everybody that has a platform, which is all of us, and everybody has a voice to come together. So I feel like anybody, celebrities, athletes, anybody should make a comment, because any little bit of help, it helps as a whole. So yes, everybody should be doing this. And if you sit back and watch, you're basically just watching. It's like you're basically one of the bystanders, just watching things happen to people. And you can say, and a lot of people will sit there and not say anything because they may have their family and friends may, you know, not agree, or different things. They don't want to be shown in a bad light, or they might have sponsors as athletes. Like athletes, you know, they have sponsors, and if you say something in the public, the sponsor may like strip that away from you. But I mean, so I can't really say you have to do this, because you do have something, you know, that you have, and I don't want to say that this person has to do that, but at the same time, these are especially if you look like us, if you look like the person that was under that cop's knee, you need to either speak up, or it's going to happen to you, because even celebrities get pulled over and get stuff happen to them all the time. So I mean, if you want to change, you have to be a part of it.
Ooh,
to piggyback off of what she said, I saw a poster. It was something like, you know, your silence is just as worth. So it doesn't even matter whether you have a platform or not. It just a simple post on Instagram and you have 200 followers is still saying that you feel some type of way about it, because if you're not saying anything, then you're just as bad as the person who did it to him. Like, it's the same thing almost.
So we'll have something more from them. Somebody asked me if we were going to cover it today. And they said, you know, with insights to be able to cover it, you might lose some support with people. Then they can unfollow us, unsubscribe us, and block us if they want. But we have a platform, and there are people who want to hear what your thoughts were. As students now, in the middle of everything going on, what your thoughts were and feelings on it. I have my own feelings. I know I got daughters. I had a daughter that got pulled one time. She was driving my daughters hate to drive the truck I've had forever, my Harley Davidson 150. They hate to drive it because they said police always pull in. They said they pull in flirting. So they hated to drive it, but one of them got pulled one time, and the white police officer told he wanted her to back up. And when she backed up and turned around, he had drew his gun and had his gun pointed at her head and told her that she was trying to run over him. And she said, you told me to back up. All I was doing was backing up. It took a while before they told me, because they all know I'm a little special. So it took a while before they told me about what had happened. But just in an instance like that, a policeman not really thinking it through, everybody would have remembered her name as one of them who got shot, and they would have accused her of trying to kill a policeman. A lot of times they try to tell us, especially Black men, on how to respond to the police, and hands on the steering wheel attended to, and yes, sir, and may I'm reaching for my wallet. See, a lot of younger people are not going to be quite that subservient when they're stopped, especially if they feel they're stopped wrongly. When they typically stop a white guy, he doesn't have to cow down and say all of that for fear that he won't get shot. I have a grandson. He bad now. He bad now. In kindergarten, and they would have to have the deputy sheriff would sometimes come by and talk to him, which I'm like, I'm trying to understand. He's not doing anything in kindergarten. Is that significant? So one day he came in and they wanted him to go over to him, and he was like, no, I haven't been bad. I'm not going over there. And so they had a big thing about it. And granddaddy supported him because why should he have to go over there? In his mind, they thought they had called somebody on him, that he had did something wrong, and he hadn't been. And they said, well, maybe he just wanted to tell you that you were having a good day. So I let his mom tell him what she told him, but I kind of understood where he was coming from, why he got to go over there. So, it's almost like in some instances we have to respond differently than other people, just not to get shot. So a lot of younger people aren't quite as willing, even though our parents and your coaches try to tell you to be careful because we don't want anything to happen to you and we could deal with it later. But also in teaching you to be independent and how to be a man, it doesn't mean you have to stand up and challenge them, but it doesn't always mean you have to bow down either.
This is a real heavy topic, and we probably all have some sort of experience with racism or cops and all that. I personally don't like violence. I feel like loving, even when it's hard. So I'd forgive personally, but there must be justice. There has to be.
What do we need to do to try to change what's going on now?
What's going on in terms of COVID-19 and like
just where we are, and I'm sorry if it wasn't clear because I rambled a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not surprised that Kamara didn't understand me. Kamara, I looked him real quick and give him a head fake, and I break his ankles real easy now. But just in terms of how do we heal where we are we gonna have to bleed some more before we heal?
I mean, with every go ahead. Okay. With every I feel that with every time you're trying to make a change, anytime there was trying to make a change with civil rights, with anything, there was always some form of war, as Caitlin said. There was some form of war that would happen in order to make the change. Now, do I want us to go to war? No, I do not, especially in our own country when all this is going on with Corona and everything like that. But I feel like there's going to have to be a change within the government, within politics, within how we deal with things. And it's not just Trump's fault. Everybody blames Trump, but there's a lot of other people, not just Trump, or he would have been impeached by now. But it has to be a change in how they handle a lot of things. And that's, and it's sad that Corona is still spreading and people are out here, protesting. And even I was willing to go out there and protest. But this is a bad situation that everybody was put in. And until that they make a decision to make these arrests and to actually uphold, the law, then at the same time, this is like something that I feel like in my eyes, maybe everybody won't agree with me, but in my eyes, this is something that has to be done for anything to change.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of Hera, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And especially yesterday, I seen that they did a autopsy report on Floyd's body, and they're making it seem like it was his underlying health conditions, and they're saying it's no evidence of him being strangled, and that leading to his death. So they're trying to cover it up and not put away the police officer.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything that we can kind of do right now to change like they said, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Like, this is not the end. I think that what's being said recently is that, you know, we go through this phase of we talk about it, but nothing happens, and then time passes by and the same thing happens. But this time I just feel like it's kind of different. I've never seen, like, I'm from Baltimore, and I was in high school when the whole Freddie Gray thing happened. Like, I lived 5 minutes away from there. And when they were talking about it, like, something needs to be done at the local level for something to really happen and honestly make a change. Like, nothing really happened here in Baltimore for us to do anything to try to stop it. So I feel like it needs to happen. Riots need to happen in every city for anything to really, like, spark in people's minds that, oh, this is not how you treat humans. I don't know. I just feel like this is different. Like, him dying the way he did, I know it sucks how everybody else had died, but I just feel like this is different because I've never seen so many different places do what they're doing in this situation. Like, I've never seen that before. So, like they said, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Has anybody noticed that it's a high number of white people that are out here protesting too? What does that tell you?
Yeah, that actually surprised me. It tells us that things are better than they used to be, but they aren't all the way where they should be. Like, I saw a lot of videos of white women and men spray painting Black Lives Matter over buildings and stuff, and yeah, that surprised me.
And also, they were putting, like, white people knew that they had privileges like that, and I saw that a lot of people were using that, you know, as like a good thing, you know, to like separate them from like the cops and do certain things because they knew that they had that privilege. So I feel like everybody, you know, like I said in the beginning, everybody's tired of it. So.
And what do you mean they had that privilege?
I think everybody knows what I mean, like white privilege, like that, you know, they get treated differently, so that they knew that they could use that and to help us, you know, protest and safely protest. Besides the ones that were coming at night and doing other stuff that I was like, okay, but they used it for.
I remember recruiting in Los Angeles and being down on the famous beach, and they were telling me, said, Coach Clayton, I said, you're all right down there during the daytime, but when it gets night, the darker it gets, you need to leave from down there because the gangs take over. And as it started to get later, it slipped my mind that I noticed that that's what was out there. And I made my exit to leave. And I'm saying that a lot with what's going on with the protesters. As it gets later and the later it gets darker, it gets, the element out there kind of changes a little bit. You don't see as many white people out there late that are looting and stealing. There are some out there. But I think in the past, when there have been this type of wholesale looting and protesting, it's been basically us that's been out there. Now, it's a good percentage of white people that are tied up and they think that it's not fair and the change has to come. You know, and as a result, we're hopeful that it does. What are you looking for in the next few days on this? Do you think it's going to start to slow down now, or you think? What's your thought? I see you shaking your head, Kamari.
I think it'll be some time before it dies down. Especially, I feel like it might die down after he goes to trial, and we get the verdict.
Well, I really appreciate y'all. You know, let me say it. First of all, it takes a little nerve to come on and talk about it, because right now some people are scared to speak, and they get in situations like leaving class. When you leave class, everybody got an opinion. Then when you walk in class, everybody quiet. To be a leader, which each one of you are leaders in your own right, part of it means that you have to have the ability to speak up. And a lot of times you have to speak up for those people who can't or won't speak up. You feel what I'm saying? And all of us continue to be quiet means that it continues to go on. And even with the white voices that are speaking up, their voices carry some weight too, because we've been fussing about it for a long time. Harry, you wanted to say something?
No, I got an Amber Alert for because Tampa were under, they had to give us curfew starting at 7.
You say your curfew starts at 7 in Tampa?
Yeah, even though there was nothing bad that happened, but I know a lot of cities are just giving curfews so they don't want anything bad happening at night or whatever. Like they think that there's gonna be like burning and rioting at night more, so they're giving us curfews.
Well, our curfew is 11 in Tallahassee. Kabir, you have a curfew there?
They gave us a curfew for COVID, but you know, Maryland opened up on May 15th, so no, they haven't said anything about a curfew. So
The protesters have been quiet in your neck of the woods now?
No.
You said no.
No. Not at all.
Well, I appreciate all y'all being here, and some of you talked more today than you have in the sessions, Kaylin, and I'm glad. I'd like for people to know that you have an opinion and you can express it. Caden, we're going to have to work with you. Everybody stay safe. You know, look out for your family and friends. And if you make a decision, you know, we stand by the decision. Just don't get caught into anything. But your voice, if you feel like it needs to be heard, just pick the right way to have it heard. But just make sure that you're safe, you know. We don't want to talk about you next week if something happened to you. This is Mickey Clayton, the coach. We're going to say good night. Bye, y'all.
Teams getting ready to come back out on the floor. We got 3 minutes before we
Lanaya Lee. That's it.
Game of the week, whatever you want to say.
They do, but they're still growing.
Your attention, please. Stay up to date with the latest from INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at insights.com. 2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
INSiiGHTS is a copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent the independent thoughts and representation.
Talk.